Hello. Yes, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever met someone who is addicted, an alcoholic, or someone who is into drugs? Maybe you put them off. Maybe you say that's the end of them. It doesn't have always to be like that. You can recover and you come out shining and doing things and achieving things in your own life, achieving your dreams. Yeah. And this is now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Mwerore, and I'm welcoming you to today's show. We have a guest who is known as Henry Ward. He's been there, done that, and then come out to tell us the story. If you're ready, let's go and meet Henry. Here we go. Hello, Henry.
Hey, Anthony, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
It's going on well. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes, I love your smile.
Thank you. I'm much happier than I was in years past. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's good to hear that. And just as I introduced, people have been there, done that, what you've done, and then you've come to tell us your story. Now, before we get started, we'd like to know, where are you?
I'm in Chandler, Arizona. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, but I live in lovely Chandler, Arizona right now.
Okay, how is it there? Always interested to know the weather the world over.
Well, the summers are extremely hot. We probably have an average temperature of 110 degrees from June until late August. But right now we're right around 60 degrees and it's cool at night.
Oh, that's beautiful. Welcome to Now Tell Us. You've got much to tell us, and starting from where you were born and growing up, just as you told us, how was it when you were growing up?
It wasn't easy, I'll say that, Anthony. I grew up in Waltham, Massachusetts, in a community that alcohol and drugs, but in my little world, it was mostly alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
were very prevalent. And people that did drink drank in excess, and I didn't like it at all. Including family members that were close to me, friends that the family hung out with, and just it was. I didn't like when people abused alcohol because they were loud, obnoxious, and really not present and didn't really give me the attention when they were under the influence. And I vowed never to drink, never to be like them until I had the opportunity. And then I did exactly monkey see, monkey do. I did exactly what I saw and learned. And I drank in excess the first time and pretty much every time after that. So, yeah,
And
it
I'm
wasn't.
curious to know how that first time came to be.
So the first time curiosity got the best of me, I would see some other kids, even younger kids. We were in elementary school. I remember some kids had older brothers and they'd be drinking or smoking pot on the bus. And middle school, same thing. I would see it more often as I got older. And then finally, I guess I was a junior in high school. And I finally decided, we were talking amongst my group of friends, what if we got some money together, pooled some money together and got some beer or some liquor? We ended up getting a couple cases of wine coolers because I hated the taste of beer. And the first time I had the taste in my mouth, it was on, man. Like I couldn't get those things in me fast enough. They give me a burp. I'd get a burp up just to get more down. And, I remember just like I went from feeling okay to like warm and fuzzy to really like oblivious to everything around me. I remember waking up on my friend's porch in a sleeping bag in the rain with like cuts and bruises all over me. I cut my head open, my back and everything. I guess I was told that I slid down a railing and fell backwards. I could have killed myself, could have really had a, traumatic brain injury. Luckily, the only thing that happened was I had a smashing headache. And, after the cobwebs cleared, I vowed never to drink again. Like that was it. I felt like it was really cool. Like I was a rock star. Partying was really neat, but like that wasn't for me. I don't like the way it makes you feel afterwards. And I don't remember anything. But it might have been a week or two later, and then we had the opportunity again to get some more wine coolers, and this pretty much the same results happened. I couldn't just have just one. I knew, in retrospect, I knew that I had a problem. I knew I couldn't stop. I liked it too much. I liked the feeling of escaping. I liked the feeling of I could actually like be myself and talk. I could say what was on my mind. There's a term called beer muscles, right? Maybe there's wine cooler muscles too. I don't know, but just a figure of speech. But it kind of got me out of my shell. I was like a shy little kid, and I could say whatever I wanted to. And eventually that started getting me in trouble too. My mouth got me in trouble. But yeah.
Wow. So you hate it, you get into it, and you hate it again, you get into it. And so the trend kept on moving and growing. Which steps did it go to?
So it escalated. Once I turned 21, I could buy alcohol legally myself. So it became more of an everyday thing for me, as
Mm,
opposed to just, whenever we could get somebody to buy for us. It was so much more convenient to walk to the store, drive to the store. As soon as it opened at 9 o'clock in the morning on the weekends or after work during the week, I would go there just about every day. I drank just about every day, and people started questioning, like, do you think you have a problem? What do you mean, do I have a problem? Well, it appears you drink every day. Like, I don't drink every day, but I really did, unless I had something to do that I wasn't allowed to drink for or at. I did really drink every day. Like I used to say, like, yeah, every day is like a party. Every day is like Thanksgiving. But yeah, no, I had, by the age of 22 or 23, I had 2 hit and run accidents, DUI arrests, and possession of marijuana. I went to court, lost my license, and I really just got a slap in the wrist. It wasn't enough I stopped drinking for a couple of days, but I started feeling sorry for myself and the pity party. So what I did was I just drank. I drank to kind of drown my sorrows and forget. I drank to forget. I drank to escape. I drank because I was an alcoholic, honestly. That's what alcoholics do. And
mm,
yeah, no, roller coaster. I partied. I had a lot of good times with my friends, in my 20s. But I caused a considerable amount of damage to relationships, to property. The people that I hung around with were doing the same things I was. I didn't want to hang around with people that didn't want to drink or smoke weed or do drugs. Like that was boring. That was lame for me. I don't
mm-hmm,
understand why people didn't want to. Like, for example, I tell the story. Somebody said, "Do you want to go to Panera for lunch?" Like, there's nothing there for me. They don't serve beer. Why
mm-hmm,
would I want to go there? Let's go to this bar or that restaurant. But yeah, no, it whether I believed it or not at the time, it consumed me and it took over my life, and it just kept escalating. I kept trying different attempts to cut down. I'm going to start a fitness program. I'm going to go to the gym, and I started seeing results right away and feeling better and more confident. Then I started rewarding myself with beer and weed after I worked out, and that was counterproductive. So the next day I go to work out, I'm a little bit more sluggish, and I started beating myself up, like, you're sluggish, and I would drink more or smoke more pot. And then I decided I was going to go to culinary school. That would keep me sober. That didn't. That didn't work. That worked for about a day. And then I moved to Arizona. I figured a geographical change from Boston to Arizona. I figured a geographical change would work. And that didn't work either, And so I found a nice girl, a nice woman. We ended up getting married, and we had problems throughout our relationship, financial problems, fighting over, my behavior and the money I spent on alcohol and what I was hiding. And I never lied to her. I just stretched the truth. Like she said, I know you've been drinking. Yeah, I just had 1 or 2. Well, I had 1 or 2 liters of beer, and I also had some tequila. I left that part out. Little white lies. Yeah, I was just, all the madness. I used to think about how much I could drink today, how much time I had, how much money I had, what I could get away with. I'd spend the day like thinking about that all the time. So it was extremely distracting at work. My work suffered because I was half in the bag, or, sluggish because I was hungover, or just didn't have the clarity because I was just thinking about how much I could drink that day. And that cycle went on and on and on. And yeah, no, like I was given an ultimatum to be sober or not, like forever. Like you got to stop forever. So I started going to meetings, AA meetings, and that certainly helped me. But I felt like I was just kind of going through the motions. You know, I'd listen and I'd speak up, but I felt like I was really not. You have to be 100% invested in the program, and I was
Mm,
like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out. I was probably 85 or 90%. And then I had the opportunity to go to China for the 2008 Beijing Olympic project as a chef. And I didn't want to go. In retrospect, I was scared to death that I was going to be all alone and I could possibly die out there. Like I always lived with my mother, my parents, or my girlfriend and wife. And I always had kind of a caretaker type thing. And I thought maybe like if I went over there, it's going to be on my own and kind of go off the deep end. And, you know, I was supposed to be sober. And as soon as I got on the plane, I let my guards down. I wasn't using the tools and resources that I learned in AA and in counseling. And as soon as I got on the airplane, I started drinking. Like
mhm,
I just, it just happened. Like I felt like I was possessed. For years, I felt like I was going to the liquor store every day. It was like, oh my God, I don't even remember like walking into the store. Not that I was under the influence, but it was just kind of like I was such a creature of habit. I was going there like because I had to. I had to supply my habit. Like I felt like I was possessed. And that same type of possession came over when I got on that plane. And I'm like, oh, well, this will be kind of like my last hurrah, my last party. And so my wife told me that, like, enjoy yourself over there, be careful. But when you come back, that's it. And so I came back and it was all was well and good. It was good to be back and see my wife and be on American soil. And the company that I work for gave us a as a reward a dinner in Orlando. Ironically, as the story goes, my wife also was going to be in Orlando for travel too, and she never traveled for work, and she wanted to connect over there. And 2 or 3 phone calls later, after giving excuses after excuses, like, "Oh, they're doing like some sort of cocktail party. Don't worry, I'm drinking Sprite. Oh, they're doing this. Like, I can't meet with you yet because we haven't had dinner, and they're doing an award ceremony." And by the third time I called her, I was repeating myself, and she knew I was drunk and said, "Don't call me anymore. Like we're done. We get back. We're gonna talk." And like immediately, like I start texting her and calling her, and she's not answering. And so I would get madder and madder. So instead of having 2 drinks in my hand, I think I had 3 or 4, and I really started drowning my sorrows. I really thought I screwed up my life. I really thought I lost her. So we came home. I drank the whole time. Don't know how I got home. When I came home, I drank like I wanted to. I went to the store, not having any booze in the house that I was supposed to be sober, and stocked up. And then, like day 3, after falling down and not eating much and banging my head and really just blacking out and not remember anything, just really lost the will to live. I wasn't suicidal, but I didn't want to live. Um, I went. Was going to go to the shower. I was going to go in the shower to get rid of the cold sweats and sober up so that I can go to the store and buy some more beer and booze. I
mm,
remember sitting there in the shower praying to God, just send me an angel, send me somebody. I don't want to be like this anymore. I'm scared I'm going to die. Please, God, send anybody. I remember opening up the door, walking out into my bedroom and getting my clothes that were laid out on the bed and seeing our house was for sale, seeing a realtor and a young couple and their jaws hit the ground and mine did too. And I slowly crapped up back and closed the door and like, oh my God, like that was so humiliating. And then I just sat there and I said, aha, that was the angels that God sent me. That's what I prayed for. They just came in a different form. And that was enough. Like those angels, I went into the kitchen after I got changed and I opened up the last 4 or 5 beers, whatever I had, and right down down the drain. I never drank again. I remember just sitting there like with the dog going, oh my God, that was so powerful. I really had a spiritual awakening. And I said, let me put together a plan. So I got on like the computer, I remember like Googling like, magic pill to get sober, quick fix, sober life, whatever it was. I just started Googling phrases and
mm,
I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm going to need to go to treatment. And so I planned on going to treatment. My wife came home the next day and I told her what happened. She said, okay, we're done unless you go to treatment now. And I said, I don't feel well enough to go to treatment now. So she's like, okay, well, I got an apartment. I'm prepared to leave. I'm leaving. And you got to go work on yourself. And she gave me some tough love. And it ended up saving my life. And I went to treatment. And I went there and I asked the guy, he said, "Can I help you?" And I said, I'm here to get some information about treatment. He's like, "What the hell is information going to do for you?" So what do you mean? Like, "Oh, I don't know how much this cost." He's like, "What lengths would you go to drink?" Annie? I said, "Well, pretty much, well, what lengths did you go to? This is your life. What lengths did you go to get sober?" Annie? I said, "Yeah." "Then why wouldn't you sign up?" I'm like, "This guy's like a salesman, man. Like, the hell, he's getting a commission off this. And why are you being so pushy? And why are you being so rough with me?" And he was aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But that tough love also kind of helped me too. And like, if your life, you said you go to any lengths and your life's worth $1 million, even if this program costs $1 million, which it doesn't, is $1 million, is your life worth $1 million? Well, yeah, then sign up. Like, well, I got to talk to my wife. She may or may not come back to you, but you got to work on yourself. And I quickly found out that I needed to go to treatment for myself. It wasn't for the relationship. Like, initially it was like to patch up the marriage. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to fix me. I needed to fix the reason why I drank. Like, anybody can quit drinking, but I quickly found out when I got in the program, you need to work on your character defects. We have
Mm-hmm.
voids inside of us that we're trying to fill. Like, why was I trying to escape? I needed to find those answers. And, to this day, I'm still searching for some of them, but I learned that one is too many and 100's not enough. Like, I could never drink one again because every time I cut down, I still had the same results. I could not just have just one. Maybe this time, but next time I would drink like I wanted to. So I really got an education on myself. I really learned how to deal with emotions, whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, frustration. Those are all emotions. It's okay to be sad and angry. And then I also quickly learned that it's okay to be an alcoholic. Like, just like somebody with cancer or a broken leg or a broken arm, nobody wants to have a broken arm. Nobody wants to have cancer. I certainly didn't want to be an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what am I going to do? I'm stuck with this disease forever. And so I was always searching for answers, and eventually speed up to 2013. My son was born in 2012. He's now 10. So like, when he was in the womb, we were getting ultrasounds done and we could never get a clear picture of him. He's always doing somersaults and flips and everything like that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to be able to keep up with this dude. So I started walking distance, and I remember going to therapy, and the guy figured out that I was an adrenaline junkie. There's a void inside of me that I need to fill. And he's like, you got to find something. So
Mm-hmm.
speed up to April of 2013, after learning how to distance walk, I said, what if I started running? I could go further and I could get there faster. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked my friend Enrique if he would possibly, if he was running this Glass Fest 8K race in his hometown that we were going to visit. And he said, I will if you do. And I said, sign me up. And so I did. I had no idea. I trained twice. I loved the training. And as soon as we started running, I hated it because I was running too fast. I was running my son in the stroll. And I went from never, never, never doing this again to like, this is the greatest feeling in my life when I found a way to finish. And I could keep drawing on like I got through 22 years of hard times in active addiction. I got through that. I can get through this 8K, this 5.3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I had this endurance gene. So I started escalating up the distances. I ended up doing the Pittsburgh Marathon within the first year of running. And then nothing in moderation, more for people with addiction. So I was hooked on marathons, and I found out about ultra marathons. So I started doing that. I did a couple 50 milers. Then the progression would be 100 mile. I did my first 100 mile. I came out to Arizona and did that in 2016. And then since then, I've done about 20 different 100 milers. I'll do marathon courses. I'll do it. Last weekend, I did the Arizona Rock and Roll Marathon Quad, which is the marathon course 4 consecutive times. So I'll start at the finish line, go to the start line, go to the finish line, go to the start line, and go to the finish line. The fourth marathon is the actual official marathon. I've done 10 of those. I've done two different 66.6 hour treadmill events, and I did a 250-mile endurance run this past year. And all these long distance events, I've used running as a platform to share my story of hope, recovery, and show people that we can recover. And it's not a death sentence. Addiction is not. It is forever, but we can recover, and we can often thrive. We can do things in society. So like, initially I didn't want to share my story. Like I said, like I didn't want to be an alcoholic. And I said, what do I have to lose? Maybe I'm going to be helping people. So yeah, I've used running as it's a gift. Like sobriety is like the biggest gift. I honestly feel like I'd be dead if I didn't get sober
Mm,
forever. And
mm-hmm.
like every day wake up is a gift to be able to run and to be able to run at the level that I do. Those are like huge gifts. Like,
Mm. Yeah, it's always good to find a passion that you have substituted to something that you were not so happy about. Now, I have Jeremy with us here, who's 100 days sober.
hey, congrats, Jeremy. That's
Come,
awesome.
Jeremy, that's
Way to
good.
go.
Let's get sober. Let's stay sober.
That's it forever. Look at my from
we,
Boston. It's over.
we get sober. What?
That's
What is?
amazing. Keep that streak alive, Jeremy. Just keep stringing days together. You know, it's totally worth it.
Mm, yeah, that's good. So I'm trying to imagine, and maybe you, Henry, and Jeremy can answer me that. Um, if you have friends, and like I know you had friends who are sober, or maybe even family, and you are in that state of a roller coaster, doing what you don't want to do, regretting after you've done it, being happy when you're doing it, being sad once you've done it, up and down, and and then you have people surrounding you who are sober, people who want you sober. What at that point would be the best thing for you to have had or experienced? And maybe it's part of your recovery that you've come through, but then at that point of a roller coaster, what help could have been the best help someone gave you at that point?
Yeah, I guess taking somebody to a meeting,
Hmm.
or bringing them to a group where there's other sober people, and showing them what our life was like and telling them what it used to be like, give them examples of what it used to be like. And like, you don't have to live with all this madness. Like typically when you have someone like that, they're either like one foot in the door, one foot out the door, like on the roller coaster, like you say. They probably think they have a problem, and if they do, they if they think they have a problem, more than likely they do.
Hmm.
And it doesn't get easier as you get older. Life gets more stressful, but it gets harder and harder each time you fail at quitting. I believe it gets harder and harder, and we beat ourselves up a little bit more and a little
Hmm.
bit more. So I try to teach younger kids, even like my son Sebastian's age group, 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about addictive personalities. If you can catch the kids at a younger age, at least educate them, then we're increasing the odds of them not drinking or abusing illicit drugs.
Mm. And this is the reason that we are having these conversations, uh, looking back and helping those people who have not gone through that. And the best people to look at are the young ones, the ones who are growing, the ones who are developing, the ones who are learning new things. So, what could you give? What advice could you give the parents that are listening to us?
Be very involved in your children's lives. Know who their friends are. Know what they're doing. I mean, you can't be behind them and catch them every time they fall, and you can't like be super nosy and listen to all their phone calls or whatever. But really spend a lot of time with your kids and
Mm,
be observant who they're hanging around with, and be observant what they're doing like in their spare time. And just there's definitely some signs, change in mood, change in friends, change in habits, school performance, sports performance. If all those things start declining or changing, then a light bulb should pop off. And then you definitely need to talk to them and address it, bring them to counseling, and figure out what the root problem is, if it is drugs or alcohol or both.
mm. And now, running, and running. Uh, what has been your greatest run? What has been your greatest marathon? Or
I mean, the first one, the 8K, was probably the greatest because I didn't quit as much as I wanted to.
mm-hmm.
But it's pretty special going home to Boston and running on that course. Like, I always would grow up watching it. like with my grandparents or my parents. And then as I get older, friends, someday I'm going to run the Boston Marathon, but that was so far fetched. I smoked cigarettes, I partied, there's no way the way I was going that I was going to do it. And to be able to leave all that madness behind and find a way to get myself in good shape and to be able to do it, to qualify for Boston and do that every year. And I do the 4 marathons there in April. This will be the 6th year that I've done that. To be able to be on that historic course and see so many friends and faces in the crowd in the area where I caused a lot of damage to my relationships with people, and for them to forgive me and accept me, that's really cool. So Boston's got a special place in my heart. The Boston Marathon, that's a good one.
Okay. And now using running to sensitize the public, to teach a lesson, to tell a story. Um, Tell us, what's your picture? What's your aim because you were starting to run for yourself, you get encouraged by a friend, but then now as you're running, many ideas may be coming to you. I can do that, I can add this, I can make this better. Do you, or in other words, in short, what's in the future?
I want to show people, like, I want to give people courage that they
Mm,
can change their lives, whether it's diet and exercise,
mm-hmm,
uh, or just get sober, or both. I want to show people that you can do hard things. Like I tell people, if I could get clean and sober, I believe anybody can. It was really, really hard for me to, humbly accept that I had a problem and to do something about it. My way never worked. To ask for help from somebody else and pay for it, like it was humiliating for me and really hard to do. And then to learn that I had to do it forever was hard too. It's continuous work. There's no magic pill, but like honestly, like if I can do it and I'm here today telling you about it, then I believe anybody can. Like I wrote, if I like start running in fitness too, anybody can run. You don't have to be super fast. If you run, you're a runner. Like I wrote 3 books that
mm,
started in COVID. Like I'm not like that smart. I'm not like book smart. I'm more street smart. If I could write a book, anybody can, right?
mm,
If you write, you're a writer. If you run, you're a runner. But the point is, anybody could change if you want to. I believe you can do pretty much anything you want to do. You just have to put your mind to it, and there's no shortcuts. It's just hard work. You get what you put into it.
mm. Thank you for that. And I remember like you were doing some fundraising or something. Uh,
Yeah, so I've done different fundraising projects. Like I've given money to people that are suffering, like kind of a scholarship fund, people that are suffering from addiction that may not be able to afford treatment.
mhm,
And recently, I did a running club fund. So my son's school, I volunteer. I'm kind of the lead guy at this running club. So every Tuesday and Thursday morning, students have the opportunity to run around the schoolyard. And I was fascinated. Like the program started before me and it was smaller. And every time they got like 5 laps, they got like a little toe token about the size of my thumbnail. And they
mhm,
get different colors. And they were like, I get a red one, I get a green one. So last year I decided to give them more incentives, more prizes. We ended up getting like homemade finish award done. This year I got water bottles, sneakers, race entries. I just had 4 kids, the top kids um, that have done the most laps, got to run the Arizona Rock and Roll 5K. And one of the students finished first in the age group. He was pretty pumped. But giving them more prizes to run more, to push themselves a little bit more. So once they have more incentives, more people are running and more kids are going further.
mm,
And it's a great way to start their school day. So yeah, I started raising funds for that.
mm. Yeah, that's good. Now, to those people who are listening, in what way would you like to connect with them? What
They
role
can
look at?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, www.runningwithoutthedevil.com. I'm on Facebook. You can look me up at Running Without the Devil, and same thing with Instagram. And you can get my email also from the website, but it's henry@runningwithoutthedevil.com. Always looking to connect with new people. I can share what works for me and hope to change somebody's life. Like again, when I got to share this story, like 5 people might tell you like, "Oh, thank you, you changed my life," or "Thank you for motivating me, whatever. But you never know the impact. You don't know how many people are watching. So thankful like to programs like this, we can reach the masses and maybe save thousands of lives. Who knows?
Yeah, we never know. I mean,
You never know.
one life changed is a great achievement.
Just trying to do my little part.
Yeah. Now, why running without the devil? Why that title?
So I try to come up with a title for my nonprofit in my first book, Running Without the Devil. And that's what I came up with. So the devil was kind of alcohol and drugs. That, like, I always say, I don't remember the Flintstones. He had like the good one with the halo, the angel, and the devil on this corner. And the devil would be jabbing him with a pitchfork. Like the angel would give him good ideas, and the devil like, don't do that, stupid. Do it this way. I
Mm,
always had that in my head, just like, do this, just go to the store, go to the store, go to the store. You know, you need a drink today. The devil was alcohol. You know, the devil was in me. Like I felt possessed. I had a lot of anger issues, and
mm,
right now I don't run with the devil anymore. That's the past life I had, the
mm.
22 years of hard times. I left that all behind. I'm not running away from it. I deal with my problems head on, but I'm running away from the devil.
Wow, that's good. Wonderful. So, running without the devil. Go there and follow Henry, connect, and you never know. If you have someone who's undergoing these challenges on a roller coaster, up and down, with drugs or alcohol, you can always connect him or her with Henry. And
Yes, please.
if someone has been there, done that experience, and come out, he's always a good resource. He can always tell you, yes, I've been there. I can give you a helping hand and lift you up. So
Absolutely.
we thank you, Henry, for being on this show.
I thank you, Anthony, for having me.
Yes. And now we are just about to go. But before we go, we would like you to leave us with a few words that we always should remember. Which are they?
Get help, speak up, never suffer in silence. Talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be a loved one. If you're ashamed, you don't feel like you can talk to them. You can talk to a counselor at school, at work, or a complete stranger. Just don't stay in your own head alone. It's not a good place always. Get everything out of your system, and speak up, because somebody else might have the answer for you.
Oh, yes. Somebody else out there may be having the answer for you. So you don't have to keep quiet. You can reach out, speak, ask, request, and then you'd get the help that you need. Once again, thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Anthony.
And also, thank you to our viewers. Even if you get to listen to this or watch it after we are through, we thank you for taking your time.
And congrats against Jeremy on 100 days sober. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Keep on, keep on. So, this has been Now Tell Us, and I have been your host, Anthony Morore. And together with our guest, Henry Ward, we are saying bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.